In a world enshrouded by darkness, I alone carry out the fire goddess's will. While using her flame and her flame alone, I will bring light back to this world. Hello everyone, Livid here, and today we'll be finding out if I can beat Dark Souls 3 with only pyromancies. The rules are simple. I can only deal damage with pyromancy spells. And lucky for me, there's a pyromancy class that starts with Fireball. It's a long-range arcing attack that will prove just as helpful as our next gift from the fire goddess, the Ashen Estus. Proving their usefulness immediately with the first boss of my path, Indux Gundyr. He teaches me two important things I'll have to keep in mind throughout the entire challenge. The speed at which I cast my spells and how quickly I can recover after casting. But with keeping my distance and with the brute power of the pyromancy, I guide Gundyr to the flame. The pyromancy flame is my one and only weapon I will need, as it is the only catalyst, like the name suggests, that lets me cast pyromancy. It does massive damage, especially in the beginning of the game, but it only does fire damage. Hopefully this doesn't become an issue in the future. While on my travels, giving the good word, I find another two issues with pyromancies. Don't tell the fire goddess I said this. Shields block most of the damage, and even if I manage to break their poise, I don't have the time to capitalize on it. And the other is free aiming. If I can lock on, I almost always hit the target. But free aiming is an unwieldy beast that I can't figure out how to conquer. But as I can lock on to every enemy unless I'm trying to snipe them, I don't see this becoming a huge issue. While wandering, I find a shortcut that leads me to my next foe, Vort of the Boreal Valley. Despite his ice-like appearance, Vort has resistance to fire damage. As I'm still learning the timing of Fireball, Vort brings me down more times than I expected. But as this frozen beast smashes my head in, rejecting the fire goddess's will, I return time after time. Learning and taking advantage of his long animations, Vort burns by the very power he rejected. Some unlikely friends offer me a hand to the undead settlement where I can continue my journey. After getting a quick double kill and destroying my most fearsome foes so far, I make my way to Cornyx. This Man of the Flame is one of two key puzzle pieces to completing this challenge. Letting my fellow brother free from his cage, he offers to assist me in fulfilling our goddess's goal. Through him, I can upgrade my pyromancy flame and learn new pyromancies.
To reiterate, I am Cornyx of the Great Swamp. The pleasure is mine.
On a dilapidated bridge, a kind hollow offers me the Fire Clutch Ring, increasing my fire damage, but it also reduces my absorption. I find an odd onion person going through a journey of his own. He offers to help me kill a fallen soldier of the fire goddess. As it is extremely resistant to fire, I barely do any damage, but with his help, the beast falls. Soon after, I find the Chloranthy ring, boosting my stamina regen, which will be extremely helpful as I will continue to neglect increasing it. While observing the foliage, a pus-covered tree rears its ugly, roots at me. The curse-rotted Greatwood is a gimmick fight that requires one to pop the cysts on the body to deal damage. But one cannot lock onto these spots, forcing the player to free aim and fight without lock-on. With a melee weapon or a proper ranged weapon, this is not much of a hindrance, but with pyromancy, it's a whole nother issue. Wasting throw after throw, getting crushed time after time, I start to get a better handle on it, bringing it to its second phase where it grows a grotesque arm that is prime and ready to get attacked. With the lock-on finally being useful this fight, I bring this giant hunk of curse-rotted firewood to ashes. Traveling through the Road of Sacrifices, I find some lost travelers that I show the power of the goddess's flame to, and I taught one how gravity works. Killing the local wildlife, I get the Great Swamp Ring. Again. I started the run with it. I even had it equipped. I'm just stupid. Running through a poison swamp, I find a family of small flames that were separated and lost. Being the kind flame-worshipping man I am, I bring them all back together. And for my reward, the little flames remind me that I still have some work behind me left to do, leading me to the Crystal Sage. They don't have much health, but they pack a punch, consistently killing me in 1 to 2 blows each time. Slow, but powerful attacks. Being hyper aggressive, I can get them into their second phase pretty quickly, which introduces shadow clones into the fight, making it so there's enemies all around. They don't do much in terms of damage, but they can stop me from getting to and attacking the real Sage. With all that said, I was still pretty surprised that I kept dying to the Crystal Sage. I believe a combination between me letting my guard down and expecting an easy fight, and neglecting the clones who can stop me mid-cast, is what caused me to fall short time after time. But like all the others we have encountered so far, with a little patience and determination, I burn the Crystal Sage. Pushing through, I create a wild bonfire and thank it for its service. I find 2 lost travelers who have strayed from their path. After setting them straight, I find some devoted followers, setting themselves ablaze to show their loyalty to their cause. After assisting them, I find an old man named Gale. He already knows the power of the flame, so he has no need for my service. Running past anything and everything, I find a lonely giant. I try to show him the beauty in my fire, but he rejected it. With no other choice, I push forward, finding myself at the doorstep of the Deacons of the Deep. The Deacons were men of the flame, just like I, but who have lost their way, throwing their flames, trying to keep the truth from reaching their ears, abandoning our goddess, in fleeting hopes to gain that power for themselves. Their numbers give me trouble, as they like to block their leader from any incoming damage, but using Great Combustion allowed me to kill a group all at once. The second phase added more and stronger sinners, but nothing changed for them in the end. They all get consumed by the fire they dared to ensnare for themselves, turning into ash. And without a second of reprieve, I find my next group of lost souls. Agents of the light, enemies of the dark, the Abyss Watchers. Like many others in this world, they have been consumed by the very thing they detest, attacking everything in sight with only the warmth of their foe's blood to keep them moving forward, even if it's one of their own. How could they be corrupted if they so pledge themselves to the goddess? Fools. I struggled a lot in this fight, but that's not very surprising for me, as I've always struggled with this fight, and that's not even considering challenge runs. I have and will always struggle with multiple enemies. My strategy in the first phase of this fight is focusing on the minions and keeping alive the one that's an ally that spawns it. But that quote-unquote ally can and will still attack me if I am too close or if I accidentally hit them when trying to hit the main boss. Lucky for me, I have enough damage and health to kind of power through the first phase and get to the second if I don't immediately die from the first enemy spawned in. The second phase drops the multi-fight, but increases the damage and brings in area effect attacks. With me being a genius and all, I neglected my health, so they're able to kill me in 1 to 2 hits. So timing is really starting to matter. But despite my computer deciding that it wanted to shit out, I played on my A game, narrowly dodging and landing the final blow right before his finishing attack, bringing these lost warriors to their slumber, turning them into ash. Side note, fuck this crab. Deciding to take a break and trying to get a drink at what seemed to be a fine establishment he thought to be lost in time. Not knowing what destruction he set upon himself, he decides to appear before me, clenching onto life far after his time was due. High Lord Wolnir is no threat to anybody but himself, as he keeps the only thing preserving his existence in plain view. High Lord Wolnir is another gimmick boss where you have to attack a specific spot, but unlike the Curse Rod of Greatwood, you can just walk up to each one, making them easy to hit. And with only a few blasts, I send High Lord Wolnir into the depths he has created. After getting lost in a weirdly well-lit tunnel, I find my way into a church for a false god. One of their followers try to preach about their false deity. Showing them the error of their ways, I make my way to a familiar set of armor. My old onion friend decides to show his face once again.
Excuse me, I must have dozed off. It's rather warm in here. Well, Well, hasn't it been all too long? It's good to see you. Oh, I seem to have missed my chance, so I, Siegfried of Katarina, offer my deepest gratitude.
And at this point is when I realized I was doing his quest for no real reason, as I wouldn't actually need his help for a particular upcoming foe. And while his help would be nice, I think going out of my way to get assistance kinda defeats the point. After saying goodbye to the beautifully incandescent Onion Man, I start looking for the man in charge of this horrendous city. Heading towards the Grand Cathedral, hoping I will find my answers inside. As I enter, the blight of the city standing calmly as if he expected me. Pontiff Sullivan. Sullivan has power not just in name, but with the blade as well. With each blow dealing half my health bar, I need to be precise and patient. Trying different spells every death, I find that the Great Chaos Flame is by far the strongest, while using the most FP. But it's a well worth trade, as I don't have to find as many openings for each cast. Powering through the first phase became trivial, pushing him into the second phase pretty consistently. But the second phase, as always, gives me trouble as it changes into a double battle. And with every double battle, my nerves skyrocket, bringing out the beloved panic rolls. If I was lucky, I could kill the clone before it gets any chance to react, but if I didn't, it spelled the end for that run. But finding my confidence in the need to set this poor city free from the greedy clutches of this man, I pull through, bringing yet another to Ash. With rumors of what is hidden in his dungeon, I start making my way there. Even with Sullivan slain, they keep fighting in his stead. I don't understand the devotion of his people. How can one put their blind faith in a man so horrid? But never mind that. I start to wander, opening up several doors and finding some foes who look weirdly familiar, but I just can't put my finger on it. I then encounter the jailers, who keep this place under control. I try to see if they can point me in the correct direction, but they deem me as an escaped prisoner, forcing my hand, burning them to nothing. I soon find a locked cell with the person I've been looking for, Carla.
But I'm guilty. A wretched child of the abyss. Is that something you can forgive? Oh, really? You are no ordinary man. Very well. Besides, I've grown tired of imprisonment. I am Carla, and I accept your proposal.
Like she said, she was born of the abyss, and knows not of the goddess. But all is willing to be forgiven, as she offers her hand to aid me in my journey, showing that even those who have been drenched in the dark can find their flame. Carla holds the key to pushing this challenge forward. Dark pyromancies. Pyromancies that are rooted in the evil of man's heart. I once seeked out to eradicate such darkness from my soul, but only can I truly serve the goddess once I fully embrace who I am. I will use my blight to free this world of theirs. I will do what must be done, no matter the cost, even if I have to become what I detest. There are 3 dark pyromancies at my disposal. Black Flame, Black Fire Orb, and Black Serpent. The first 2 are the counterparts of the Great Combustion and Fireball, while Black Serpent is a dark flame that travels on the ground, tracking the enemy. Testing them on the old Dragon King, I find that Black Fire Orb will be my go-to out of the 3. The range and the damage makes it the safest bet out of all 3, while the cost is better on the Black Flame. Getting close in most fights is very dangerous, and the FP cost in Black Serpent makes it unrealistic to use. And as the old Demon King has very weak ranged attacks, I can take advantage of my own range, healthing him from a distance, not giving him a chance to attack back. I bring him to his knees, as in his old age, he can't keep it up like he used to. Without a second thought, I destroy his soul, leaving nothing left. Without a second of reprieve, I head to the profane capital, where the eternal flame lives. With Yorm towering above me, he snuffs out my flame. I thought I would be ready, as I just got the only pyromancies I can get that can hurt him. It wasn't my time. Turning my back to the ruler of the profane flame, I make my way to Lothar Castle, the home of the heir to Ash. The only thing stopping me from meeting them is a recently deceased old lady and the dancer of the Boreal Valley. Well, there are more barriers in the way, but we'll get there. Moving and attacking at a unique timing of a 3-4 time, she tends to catch me off guard, and despite her cold demeanor, just like Fort, she is resistant to my flame, making me resort to my dark flames, and with them, dealing massive damage. My plan was to blitz through the fight, dealing as much damage as possible and even trading some hits to push past, but I end up getting caught time after time. But with this blitz tactic, I could get to the second phase pretty consistently. But on the other hand, I would pretty consistently die on the second phase. But with a little bit of luck and the health to tank one hit straight on, I burn the dancer's soul to nothing. Heretics like this don't even deserve to see my flame. Traveling through the castle doors, I find a familiar statue. Even though it's destroyed, I feel faint flames emanating from it. My next stepping stone is the dragon slaying armor. Animated armor created to prevent me from pressing forward. When it keeps its shield high, there isn't much I can do, but once it drops it, there's nothing stopping me from destroying it. Even asking for its false dragons for assistance, it stands no chance. I burn it until there is nothing left. And talking about heretics, I find my way to Osiris, the consumed king. Trying to take to the skies, he attempted to make himself a dragon, a being he believes that is above all else. This infuriates me and fuels my rage. I cannot let such a blasphemous deed go unpunished, but this rage dulled my edge, missing cast after cast, whizzing right past his spindly body, resulting in my death time after time. I capture my rage, but instead of suppressing it, I add it to the pile of rot that's inside of me, making me that much stronger, allowing me to kill this foolish king, rendering his soul to nothing. When will they learn that nothing is above me and my goddess? Wandering into a familiar arena, I find Champion Gundyr. I seem to be reliving my past. It matters not. I will kill this man as many times as I have to. He tries his hardest, but unlike then, I am now only one step away from my completion. He stands no chance facing me. I am nothing like my past self. I know the aiming, the timing, everything. I know everything. And I know what needs to be done. I return to my brick wall, Yorm. Even though his height still looms over me, I have conquered my fear. Every hit he does is devastating, and mine is little more than a scratch to him. Even so, I can see the light at the end. If I just push a little harder, just a little longer, I'll make it. I'll make it to the end. Yorm's attacks were simple. The harder part was the trajectory of my throws. I haven't fought a foe this tall before, and his head is the only real weak spot he has. Just a slight turn can make my fireball miss. And while the body and the legs are a lot easier to hit, the damage is just not comparable. And with the added bonus, if you hit his head enough times, you can stagger him, just like if you had Storm Ruler, opening me up to do massive damage. Eventually, I burn every inch of this giant, leaving nothing but ash. Taking his flame for my own, I am now complete. The only thing left in this world for me is its destruction. It's ash. Realizing that I still had one left to kill before I could approach the prince, I make my way to Aldridge. This beast dares to call itself a god-eater. It couldn't even wish to eat me in its dreams. I am now the perfect weapon for my goddess. I am the closest thing to a real god this beast will ever see, as I render Aldridge to ashes, as if they were nothing. Truthfully, they deserve a fate far worse than death for their transgressions, but my flame renders them to ash, as they will be needed for my ascension. I open the doors to the prince's castle, and I am met with a library. As I am far from a silent person, the librarian gets a little upset with me, and as any normal person would do, I kill them without a second thought, making my way to their front doorstep.
Oh dear. Another dogged contender. Welcome, unkindled one, purloiner of cinders. Mind you, the mantle of Lord interests me none.
Lorien Lothric, children of fire, heirs of ash, who have abandoned their purpose. Determined to divert their destiny, they spit in the face of the flame. My goddess! I will bring them back to their throne, whether they want to or not, dead or alive. It matters not to me, as all I need is their ash. The older brother, Lorien, has heavy-hitting melee attacks that can catch me off guard when he teleports, while the younger brother, Lothric, shoots magic projectiles while reviving his brother whenever I manage to kill him. And like most fights in this game, this is a 2-phase boss, starting off with just Lorien, getting you used to his teleporting and quick melee attacks, while with the second phase, it's both brothers, attacking you in tandem. With their constant moving position and strong attacks from both brothers, it caught me off a few times, but it was nothing compared to my flames. Resisting till the end, I burn them into ash. I bring all the ashes I have collected back to their thrones. One by one, I place them back where they once were seated in the service of the fire goddess. With the Shrine Maiden's help, I reclaim their flames so I can do what they could never. I am going to become the true Lord of Cinder. I am the one who was always destined to be by her side.
The 5 lords sit their 5 thrones, all thanks to thee, most worthy of lords. Ashen one, with the lords as thy witness, bend thy knee before the bonfire's coiled sword, and let the lord's embers acknowledge thee as their true heir, a true lord, fit to link the fire.
The conglomeration of all those who call themselves a Lord of Cinder. It has deep knowledge that I could never hope to understand. Proficient in multiple weapons, including magic, and as expected, no average flame will affect it. This is the reason I was sent here. I, and only I, have the power to snuff this flame out with my own. After getting cut down time after time, I remember a spell that was regarded as unsatisfactory, Black Flame. With both my FP and my Ashen Estus far bolstered from the past, it becomes a vital part of my plan. The cast speed is quick, allowing me to get damage in while having the best chance of avoiding damage myself. Pushing the Soul of Cinder to its limit, it bursts out in flames and becomes more aggressive than ever, shooting lightning, lunging across the battlefield, in devastating combos. I die time after time, but with my end so close, my flame is burning hotter than ever. Keeping my distance, throwing between attacks, and getting lucky, I take these ashes for my own. But to what end? I became the very monster I swore to destroy, taking and using the goddess's power for my own. I was consumed by my very own darkness. I needlessly rendered poor souls of this world to nothing, not even ash. What right do I have to make these choices? What right do I think I belong next to my goddess? I rekindle the first flame, and I set myself ablaze, in hopes for my soul to be one day redeemed, as I am reminded that I am but a humble servant of the fire goddess. Long may her flame burn. Huge thanks to everyone who made it this far, and I hope to see you next time.